as I always do, and I'm going to actually reduce my light a little bit because it's a little bright in my eyes. So let me do that first, just a little bit. There we go. That is better. Yes, that feels better. Okay, so welcome everybody. I'm just going to give it a few minutes for some more people to hop on here. I know that a few people were really interested in that topic. I'm going to be talking about tonight because it's a very, very common issue that a lot of people are experiencing with chronic illness, Hashimoto's especially. And I just want to really talk about that and how it comes together and what you can do, a few things that you can start doing in order to get your blood sugar under control. And it's so, so common. And that is why I'm talking about that tonight because I see it happening over and over and over again. And I just really want to clarify the connection between cortisol, blood sugar, adrenal health, and thyroid health, because I know it can get really confusing. And oftentimes we get so caught up in all of these, different areas of our body that we don't really understand how those things are connected. And I just want to quickly really talk about that tonight. And I see that there's a lot of people hopping on here. So, welcome everybody. I'm just waiting a few more minutes. If you want to say hi in the chat, I'm going live with StreamYard. So I do not see who is popping on here. But if you want to say hi in the chat and give me a wave, and if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them. Let me know if you're excited about that topic. Cortisol and the blood sugar roller coaster connection. Okay, awesome. So let's get started. So, and if you guys have any questions, always, please drop them in the comments. Otherwise, I'm just going to be starting to talk about these things, as I want to go through them. So, um, cortisol and the blood sugar roller coaster. So I see it happening so many times over and over again that a lot of women with Hashimoto's and any other autoimmune issue, chronic inflammation, do have blood sugar issues. And why? Number one, why? And number two, what can you do? And number three, what is it? What is the blood sugar imbalance that you're experiencing in your body? So let's just talk about that a little bit so you get a little bit of a overview of what the blood sugar response is in the body, right? So when you are eating a meal, just naturally your blood sugar goes up, right? And depending on how you are combining the foods in your meal, and the types of food you're incorporating into your meals is the rate of how quickly your blood sugar goes up. But it's a natural occurrence. So it happens all the time. Um, and after every meal. But your body has certain response mechanism in place that allow your body to go back into balance because your body needs to keep that blood sugar balanced in your blood to make sure that you are keeping healthy and in a good balanced state. So, how does the body do that? What type of mechanisms does the body have in place in order to keep your blood sugar stable after eating? And if you feel like you want to answer these questions, then drop them in the chat. If you think you know the answers, drop them in the chat. We can talk about it. So, um, but how the body does that is through insulin, right? So, insulin is a hormone, and that hormone is produced by your pancreas. And that insulin comes in, and the insulin picks up those blood sugar molecules, you know, and piggybacks them and puts and carries them onwards to the cells. And so when that happens, the cells open up, right? Every cell needs energy to function properly. The cells open up and the insulin deposits the sugar into your blood cell. So, when you're experiencing a blood sugar roller coaster, and we talk about why that happens, there's multiple reasons why. But when you're experiencing a blood sugar roller coaster, what happens is that number one, the blood sugar goes up quickly, and the following insulin response is hefty, right? Because there's too much sugar, and that can have certain reasons. The reasons could be that your cells have become desensitized to insulin, right? Insulin has been knocking on those cells too many times. There has been too much sugar consistently in your blood that your cells don't respond anymore and say, hey, you know what? I'm not opening up for you insulin anymore, right? You are soliciting me. I have enough in my cells, so I don't need you anymore. So then what happens is that the sugar, the energy that is circulating in your bloodstream needs to be put away, and that happens either into muscle or fat cells, right? So, but why does that happen? It happens because for several reasons, and we'll go through it a little bit more. But what I was going to say is, so that is the mechanism of how your body puts away the sugar into your cells with the insulin. So when we are on a roller coaster, when we're experiencing that rush of blood sugar coming in, your body's reacting. It's going to put it away. If it can't put it in the cells, it's going to put it into fat cells or muscles. And then what happens is that because of the influx of sugar into your bloodstream too much, right, all at once, after everything has been put away, your body actually goes into hypoglycemic state because all of that sugar has been taken away too fast with too much insulin, so that your body's actually experiencing a slump. So when you're experiencing, and here's some symptoms you can actually, see if you're experiencing any of those. If you're experiencing tiredness, sluggishness after eating, if you are experiencing a energy dip at around 11 or 3 o'clock, if you're experiencing that you are either always hungry, never satisfied with eating when you eat a meal, your body is never fully nourished, you always want to have more, right? Or if you're experiencing that you need to have something sweet after a meal, right? If you have a wholesome meal, but you still feel as if you need that sugar after, those are all really good indicators that your blood sugar is imbalanced. So let me know in the comments if this is something that you have experienced or if that is something that you are experiencing currently. Another thing too is that you are starving. You're starving when you're sitting down for your meals. Or the other one is that you are not hungry when you wake up in the morning, right? So all of these flags and signals from your body are actually showing you that your blood sugar is a little bit out of balance. It's not in homeostasis. So now, let's pull in the reason why this happens. As I said, there's so many reasons, multiple reasons. A lot of times it's that we have been eating the wrong foods over a period of time. So this is not something that happens immediately. The blood sugar imbalance, you know, creeps in over longer periods of time, sometimes years. Um, Number one, it can happen because of poor thyroid function. So, and that is why I say it's very, very common with us with Hashimoto's because of the fact that our thyroid is, um, I don't want to say compromised, but our thyroid is definitely not in a place where a normal functioning thyroid is. And so, thyroid function is number one, is one of the reasons why. And so, if you're developing poor thyroid function, you also decrease the rate of glucose uptake by your cells. So what I just talked about, the cells are, taking in the glucose, and the thyroid is actually it increases the rate of the uptake. So if you have poor thyroid function, it can decrease that rate. It can also decrease the rate of glucose absorption by your gut. So there's a lot going on with the thyroid. And if you have thyroid issues, poor thyroid function, that can definitely add to, blood sugar imbalances. So that is number one. Another big one that I see though, over and over again, and this is the one I was going to talk about tonight, is cortisol. The cortisol responds to blood sugar imbalances. So it's twofold. And I want you to understand that cortisol is a necessary hormone. So cortisol is not the bad guy in the body. We need cortisol. Otherwise, we would not be able to get up in the morning. Cortisol is really important to get us up in the morning and to get us going and to really help us to fight, stressors in our lives. But here's the thing: if we are fighting consistent stressors in our lives ongoingly, we have, some sort of cortisol imbalance because our cortisol is consistently high in our bodies. So I want you to think about when you are experiencing a stressful situation and you want to either fight or flee from the situation. What does the body need? Right? The body needs energy. The body needs energy in order to do these things. So, where does the energy come from? Right? The energy comes from sugar, which is stored away in the cells, right? Typically, muscle cells and fat cells, sometimes also the liver, is where cortisol dips into to liberate the energy, to bring that energy into your bloodstream for you to be able to either fight or flee or do whatever you need to do in order to get through that stress response. So, what is happening now, right, is that when you are experiencing stress, you are liberating more and more sugar into your bloodstream ongoingly. And so now you understand that now you have this ongoing sugar rush in your body, not even, most likely, not even realizing that it's happening, because oftentimes when we are chronically stressed, it becomes the norm for us. It becomes the norm that we don't even consider ourselves stressed anymore, because we don't even understand what it feels like to not be stressed. So when we have all of this sugar liberating into our bloodstream through cortisol, well, what happens next? Our bodies is always trying to put us back into the state of balance and homeostasis. And what does the body do? The body is trying to put away that sugar again, right? So insulin is being released, and insulin is trying to pick up that extra sugar that the cortisol actually released to help you with the stressor, right? And so now we are on that vicious cycle. We are on that vicious cycle that you are chronically stressed. Cortisol is consistently high in your blood. At the same time, your body is trying to put away that blood, try to put it away. And so this is where the roller coaster comes into play, right? Where you have those high amounts of sugar in your blood, insulin kicks in feverishly to put it away. So it's churning out so much insulin, and then putting it all away all at once, and then all of a sudden that blood sugar drops, and then you're feeling dizzy, and then you're feeling brain foggy, and you're feeling that slump after eating starchy meals. All of these things come into play when cortisol is chronically high at the same time. So let me know if that makes sense to you guys. How the cortisol response is so critically interwoven with our blood sugar imbalances. And that really brings me to the point that I want to make in this video for you guys is to, you know, number one, really understand that it is not just something that we say, or I say, or we all know, is that we have to make sure that we um, put certain self-care practices in place on a regular basis. We have to really address our stress levels in our lives, and that looks different for everybody. But especially when we are dealing with any sort of autoimmune issues, there are imbalances just naturally because of the natural, occurring inflammation in our bodies. So we need to really make sure that we are establishing good, healthy lifestyle routines that keep the cortisol levels low, or that allows us, if we're experiencing stress, to allow us to recover from the stress response, quickly. So whether that is, walking after your meals to help your body regulate blood sugar a little bit better by exercising, right? By stimulating metabolism so that it's easier for your body to put away the sugar in your blood. So walking after meals comes in very handy, can be very, very helpful to do that. But also just really understanding how important it is to keep cortisol low and integrate self care practices. So, what do you do first thing in the morning? Do you get up in the morning and do you start your errands or looking after kids right away? Maybe just reconsider that and say, I need to take my 10 minutes out of the day to really make sure that I'm grounded and that I'm really able to calm my nervous system to bring my cortisol down, because it can have a huge impact on your blood sugar levels, right? And when the blood sugar levels are out of whack, you will experience crazy cravings, sometimes frequent urination, because your body is trying to dissolve the sugar in your blood, right? So frequent urination, I see constant hunger, brain fog, general fatigue, must have sweets after meals. All of these things are really just flags and signs that your body is showing you that something's out of balance and you can do something about it. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. I hope that clarified things a little bit more. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments around that, around how cortisol can really increase blood sugar imbalances and blood sugar roller coaster. And that is such a critical factor. Of course, there's other ways and other things that you could do, but really establishing a good, healthy self care practice is going to be very helpful for you to move forward with this. All right. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you again next week for my Thursday live show. And until then, I hope that you guys have a wonderful weekend.